Hey, everybody, welcome to Ask Dr. Testosterone, starring Dr. George Soulianos and brought to you by his book, The Bible of Bodybuilding. Everything you need to know about training, nutrition, supplementation, PEDs, all in that one book. Available on Amazon.com, where you can also pick up Real Bodybuilding. Yes, I had this title many years before Fouad's podcast. And now, all the way from Athens, Greece, please welcome the Dr. George Soulianos. Hey, Doctor.
All right, you just returned from Florida.
Midnight last night I got in, and here we are at 8:13 a.m.
White flowers, yellow flowers, very Caribbean style, you know, very.
Oh, the shirt? I have my tropical shirt on for the final Saturday. Yeah.
I'm really excited because I just purchased the mail is really delayed, so I'm getting this from the newsstand. So besides my column, there's this article of mine about the skeletal muscle as a metabolic regulator, which will be my future topic on the Educational Olympia in December.
Oh, right.
You know? And of course, I have this one, which is the.
I would frame that. I would put that on my wall. You got to put that on.
Yeah, also, the photographer has it, and one close friend of mine. So
awesome.
I got totally 5 copies of this magazine. You know.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's a good amount. Yeah. So Tampa was a good show, Doctor. I was very surprised that 51-year-old Kamal El Garnie.
Yes.
First time he did open bodybuilding, and he was about 220.
You know, I believe this guy. I mean, I watched him first in 2019 Olympia. It was my first Olympia. You were there also.
Yeah.
And he was the one that made the impact, earning the Masters Olympia. You know,
he won the 212 Olympia.
Back then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Back then, yeah. He was really symmetrical. He was, of course, 3 years younger, but in my humble opinion, he and Dexter are rare exemptions. We shouldn't mislead people that go for a gear in your 50s.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, there are supreme genetics, great symmetry, great balance, but they're 1 out of a million, you know, so it doesn't mean that the average Joe can do this in his 50s, you know?
Yeah.
We're losing people.
Yeah, I don't think too many people are going to, I hope more people don't say, oh boy, I'm 50 years old.
And this guy does not play the size game, of course. He kills them with quality.
I loved his conditioning. His back double bicep is one of the best I've seen, like ever. So much detail, so much thickness and density.
He's
in the
about
back.
220, right?
Yeah, I think Chris Aceto said he was 218 by the time he got to the stage.
Yeah, because it was the 212 for Olympia, you know, so he earned a few. And I think Chris is a fan of the aesthetic stuff and not abuse. But anyway, he was also great at the press conference. I remember he was really humble, good spirit, you know.
Yeah. He had his whole family there. I think he's got 4 kids, small, and they're
really,
you know, 18 to like the little one looks like he's about 5.
And you know, there is a myth saying that if you're not a Christian, if you're not American or even European, if you are a Muslim or that, you are prohibited to earn. No, this is bullshit. And if you are good enough, you're gonna earn it.
Oh yeah, I mean, we have a Muslim Mr. Olympia the past 2 years.
Of course, yes. I mean, this myth is debunked now.
Samir Banout was a Muslim.
Stuff like that. Yes.
Yeah, no, that's silly. But yeah, it was a good show. Congratulations to Akeem Williams. I mean, huge, so big, such good shape. You know, I personally had Kamal winning only because I'm such a fan of conditioning. I love that granite hard look when somebody brings that to the stage. But I could see that Akeem just outmassed him. At
the end of the day, it's about size. And if they're really close to conditioning, I believe that size matters.
Yeah. So, you know, congrats. I honestly thought it could have gone either way, although I tipped it. But so this weekend in Texas, Kamal's going to do that show too. So he'll be next to Steve.
Really? Wow.
He's going to go up against Steve Kuklo, Andrew Jacked.
Well, I believe that Steve deserves to be in the top 6 of the league, you know.
Oh, yeah. We'll see. I mean, he's the heavy favorite. It's right there in his backyard.
His own town.
Yeah, and I mean, he looked fantastic last year, but Ian Valliere just edged him out.
He's in a good mood because of his new girlfriend also.
She's good. She looks like a good woman. All right, so we're going to get into some questions. We got some good ones this one. I'm a power lifter and I care a lot about my health. I've been having a very big improvement with very low doses, 200 to 250 milligrams of cypionate plus 50 milligrams of deca per week. Do you think this protocol is very dangerous in the long term regarding ventricular hypertrophy or some other serious problem?
No, we said that before, exactly the same dose that I discussed in my shows, or perhaps in the muscular development. So for a brief period of time, it's not bad. The point is, after 6 or 1 month in a row of 250 and 50, the 50 of non-normal may lower your HDL and may increase, of course, synergistically with testosterone, your hemoglobin. Now, LVH is a matter, of course, of body mass and blood pressure, and also years of intensive training. And also other stimulants like clenbuterol, of course, that increase the blood pressure and the thickness of LVH. Perhaps stacking also with GH will enlarge the heart as an organ. You know, side effects, we know they are dose dependent, but in order to start this protocol, you need to have HDL over 40, LDL below 100, total cholesterol below 200, ALT, AST below 50, and hemoglobin below 18. So there's some standard values that should be considered as the green zone, you know, because after that comes the red zone. But seriously, they're not for massive gains, you know. Sure.
Okay, next one question. Are there any issues with taking 2 IUs of HGH daily with semaglutide? First of all, what's semaglutide or semaglutide?
Yeah, there's a peptide, but I don't find any particular reason stacking together the GHRH, which is the growth hormone releasing hormone peptide or secretagogue, along with GH itself. So if you can afford it, go for the real stuff, which is a GH.
Right. Okay.
Some people are using the other secretagogues in order to avoid the complete shut off of GH from your hypophysis. But after your 50s, there's no turning back. We age and the IGF-1 declines, you know?
Yeah.
Besides, those secretagogues are cheaper and less effective and perhaps safer. But apart from some recovery and maybe some decent fat burning, they cannot do something more, you know?
Okay, so the rest of his question was, I'm taking the semaglutide to control aptitude during cutting. I think he means
appetite.
I think he means appetite, yeah.
Those secretagogues, yes, they increase a lot of hunger and appetite because they are ghrelin agonists. So ghrelin is the hunger hormone and leptin is the satiety hormone. And they are ghrelin analogs. That's why they increase appetite. But listen, if you're a hard gainer, or if you want to increase your size, you gotta eat a lot. So you need this hunger, you know, this appetite thing, you know.
So he's using it to control his appetite during cutting, because after a bulking cycle,
during cutting, yes.
Yeah, I'm hungry all the time. Will the semaglutide help with the HGH, possibly causing insulin resistance?
Insulin resistance is caused by GH, yes.
Okay.
That's why in order to avoid, you need to eat moderate carbs, kill the simple carbs, okay, the sugars, the hyperglycemic carbs, the refined sugars, the bad carbs, you know, trans fat, of course, and eat a lot of starchy carbs and fiber, along with essential fatty acids to control the insulin response. Because during dieting, you need the insulin sensitivity. And besides, when you diet and you burn your fat, the insulin sensitivity increases.
Okay. So I guess he wanted to know, will the semaglutide help with the HGH? He wants to know if it'll help fight the insulin resistance that the HGH can cause.
In order to avoid insulin resistance, you could try metformin. Okay. Metformin, or stack it with berberine and chromium and vanadium sulfate. But I'm not sure now those peptides will give you a hard time because you're gonna hunger. You're gonna crave for food, you know.
He says my A1C is 5.3. Is that a good number?
It's borderline, you know, 5.5. It rings a bell for taking metformin. You know, I mean, doctors say 6, but I don't want to go to 6 to start already metformin, you know. 5.5 for me is the bell ring, you know.
It's like pre-diabetic?
No? Well, no. Definitely diabetic type 2 is 6%, but between 5.5 and 6, come on.
Okay.
You're playing with fire.
This is a good question, because this is something I used to do all the time. I used to preload syringes a month's worth of shots at a time. This is years ago. So this guy wants to know, what are your thoughts on storing steroids in a syringe? I want to use tren acetate, but my trinastate comes in 1 milliliter ampules of 100 milligrams. I would use 50 milligrams of it 3 times per week. So I have to store 50 milligrams of Tren in the syringe for about 2 days. Is that
I don't
sterile?
think there's going to be a problem for 48 hours,
Okay.
especially oil-based solutions, it's also in the fridge,
Yeah.
I'm storing GH and HG for 1 week, in order to empty my pre-filled syringe.
Yeah.
But seriously, no problem with the oil-based solutions because they hardly develop contamination.
Okay. Would you keep it in the refrigerator, or is that no need for
No,
this?
the refrigerator, better in the fridge, yes.
Okay, cool. And the last question for this week, what would be the least androgenic steroid and safer to prevent cardiac or ventricular hypertrophy?
Well, we said before that the LVH is a matter of training, heavy lifting, blood pressure. Now, if you want to speak which is the least androgenic for prostate, for hair thinning, for roid rage, for acne, what the androgenic stuff do, I would say oxandrolone and the DHT derivatives, or stenozolol and methanol. So Primo, Winstrol, and Anavar are the least androgenic compounds that can be also used by women in moderate doses.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a good one. Yeah. Primo, if you want to play it safe, I've always heard that Primo, Anavar, Winstrol, not so much.
Milligram per milligram Primo compared to Anavar or Winstrol is bullshit. It's very low androgenicity. Yeah, very low. I'm sorry, anabolic effect.
Yeah. Huh.
Very weak anabolic.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
need 600 milligrams to avoid muscle wasting in diet.
yeah. I mean, that's what you typically only see it used during a prep cycle toward the last few weeks. Because
in the black market, they sell 100 milligrams from $10. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, wait, 100 milligrams? That's not too bad for $10.
100 milligrams, yeah. But you need 60 per week just for Primo?
It's not too bad. I mean, look at the money people spend. IGF-1, I don't know what it costs because I've never tried
man, but for one steroid compound, it's crazy.
That $60. Yeah, I mean, it adds up. Okay, well, that wraps up this week. You're going away on vacation. Where are you going? Greece?
Yeah, in my home country after several years, west side.
I mean, that's where everyone in the world, we all want to go to Greece, and you're already there. So what's the big island? Mykonos? Is that where everyone wants to go?
No, it's the animal, the party animal, the animal party go there.
That's
Mykonos is the notorious for the parties, who's the richest man?
Bill Gates?
The on Twitter.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk was there, yeah.
Oh yeah, cool. That's right. They took a picture of him with his shirt off on the beach, and everyone laughed at him, because he's supposed to be ripped and jacked, I guess, because he's the richest guy in the world. Anyway, that will do it for this week. Thanks, Doctor, as always, answering all these questions with your vast knowledge and expertise. I want to make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave your questions for the next episode in the comments below this. And of course, keep it right here next week for Ask Dr. Testosterone, and we'll see you then.